Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk a little bit more about Senators McConnell and Scott and the situation that has been developing there. A little bit of background in case you missed it. Scott challenged McConnell for Republican leadership in the Senate. He did not succeed. McConnell, being McConnell, didn't really do anything about it. And then not too long ago, he pulled Scott and another person who assisted in challenging him off the Commerce Committee. It's a pretty big punishment. That's a very powerful committee. And most people kind of thought that was going to be the end of it. But apparently the feud between Scott and McConnell is a little bit bigger than we knew. McConnell is somebody who waits for the opportune time to get even, so to speak. And with all of the trouble that Scott is in right now over sunsetting federal legislation and that plan and how it would impact, Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and everything, McConnell just kind of put it on out there. Most Republicans are going on to radio shows and TV shows and tweeting about how that was not the plan. That is not what was going on. Biden is making that up. That's not true, even though there are literally video clips of some of them actually saying it. And the plan was spelled out. A lot of Republicans don't care about that because they know they're not going to be fact-checked by conservative outlets. McConnell got on a radio show and was like, that's not a Republican plan, that's a Scott plan. And just, put it on out there. He talked about what a bad idea it was and how he and McCarthy had already talked and nobody was going to touch Social Security or Medicare. It wasn't going to happen. He then went on to talk about how this was just, such a bad idea and it might cost Scott when it comes time for re-election. Because Scott's from Florida, and there's a lot of elderly people in Florida. Social Security and Medicare, that's super important. And what this tells us is that this feud is way bigger than anybody knew. Something happened beyond what we know. McConnell is somebody who generally follows the 11th commandment as set forth by Ronald Reagan. Do not speak ill of another Republican. And his main priority has pretty much always been to maintain Republican power. Pushing Scott out there like this, close to an election, and even talking about the election consequences of it, that's unique. That's cold, even for McConnell. I would imagine that Scott is going to have to try to dazzle. I would expect some big news from Scott because I think he understands he's in trouble. He has McConnell now signaling to Florida, to Republicans in Florida, you might want to pick somebody else. So I would expect Scott to either do some grandstanding or propose some wild legislation to get some headlines, do something to get the attention off of this plan, which, according to McConnell, leader of the Republican Party in the Senate, that's a Scott plan. That's a Rick Scott plan. Put it all on him. And to be fair, I didn't see McConnell at any point in time support that plan when it was put out there. And I don't know that plan had significant Republican support. So everything that's being said may be completely accurate, but the fact that it's McConnell saying it while many other Republicans are trying to do what they can to help Scott out signals that McConnell is done, and he is ready for Rick Scott to go home. It is certainly an interesting development, and it is not going to cool the tensions between the MAGA faction and like the normal Republican faction. It may elevate them. So you may see a lot of wild stuff over the coming weeks. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.